Greetings, amazing listeners. You are tuned in to Heads and Tails, and this is a brand new episode with a super skilled chef who just opened his burger shack in Bangkok. Please welcome Chris Edwards to the pod. Chris is a fusion of Thai and British heritage, whose life unfolds across continents, each chapter more fascinating than the last. He loves to create things with his hands, and just let me tell you that I showed up to this talk with a broken XLR cable that Chris somehow got to function for the recording. This dude truly embodies the spirit of DIY ingenuity. But nothing comes easy in life, so his journey through various disciplines and majors led him to the realization that his true passion lies in the art of cooking. Now he is sharing this gift with the world in the kitchen. Expect to hear tales of scrambled eggs to fried rice and sauces, basically food of all sorts, kitchen fundamentals and techniques for beginners and the experienced, gardening, and grieving for past loved ones. Through his tales, we'll uncover the profound ways in which cooking became a source of solace and healing during times of loss. He talks volumes about experimentation with his handiwork and crafts and deciding on a path for himself. Hopefully, you will enjoy this gem of a conversation as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Holy cow, Chris.
Yeah.
We made it happen.
Yeah. It's just a little bit of jank engineering, just like my grill, my pizza oven.
Yeah. Tell me about the pizza oven.
Well, my idea for it, was when I saw my mom's grill, because there wasn't a cover to begin with.
Sure.
So I was like, and my mom was adamant that she wanted to try to make pizza. So I was like, and I didn't want to use the small toaster oven we had. I was like, how can I make this work? And like, when we got back from Chiang Rai, we went to the hardware store and I was like, maybe I can buy a small ceramic tile and then a big cover and then use a broom to fan the coals to get very high heat.
Yeah.
But then when I was exploring on my own on the day I was cooking the pizza at the little flea market next to the big weekend market that's next to my mom's village, I saw that stainless steel pan and I was just like, that could work to help distribute the heat, and just put that on top of the tile just so it has a really conductive surface underneath it. And it worked. The bottom of the pizza got a little bit burnt, but that's what happens when you don't have proper temperature control. And using a jank DIY solution is the quite easy way to learn.
That's a lot of trial and error, right?
Yeah.
Like with the DIY route.
Yeah.
I guess that's why people invest in good equipment.
Yeah.
But, okay, let's start off by, I generally don't do this, but I think for the viewers, it's important for them to have a little bit of background of your life a little bit.
Right.
So if you could try to, summarize it for 3 minutes.
Well, let's rewind the clock a bit, and I was born in Bangkok in 1989.
Okay.
And then a couple years later, that's when my brother came along in 91. But soon after... And
you're the oldest in the family.
I'm the oldest out of 3 siblings. I'm 34 going on 35. My brother is 33 going on 34. And my sister's 23 going on 24 now. So you can see the almost 11-year age gap between me and my sister.
Yeah, and your sister is the one that looks the most like your mom.
Yeah, it looks the most like half out of all of us. Because as you can see on the video, the way I enunciate and articulate, and with my complexion, you wouldn't guess that I'm half Thai.
Yes.
Yeah, that's when growing up in international schools around Southeast Asia. Because let's go back. Once my brother was born, we moved to a small town on East Kalimantan in Borneo called Balikpapan, and we lived there for 7 years because my dad used to work in oil and gas.
Was that the first place that you lived?
That was the first place that I lived after Thailand.
Oh, okay.
And then after Indonesia 7 years, we moved to Texas for a year.
Oh.
Because my dad went to go train staff for when we were getting ready to move to Vietnam. And then in Texas, we saw some interesting things because, like, in Texas, like, I remember going over to a parent's friend's house, and then there was a tornado warning, and I actually saw a funnel cloud come down, but it didn't touch the ground. It went actually back up.
Oh.
And it was literally, like, nearly right outside the house, so that was pretty interesting.
Damn, okay.
And I can't remember which hurricane it was that rolled through while we were living there, like 98 to 99.
Sandy? No, that's
I think it was
recent.
George or something.
Yeah.
And, like,
It's so funny that they give normal human names for these
and
tornadoes.
my dad was off in Vietnam, like, training his staff, so it was just me, my mom, and my brother, and we were hunkering down in the master bedroom bathtub,
Oh my god.
and the power was out and everything, and, like, the next day the roads were all completely flooded and all schools were closed, including the private school we went to, because the States was just a interim ground. We were only meant to be there for a year. It was the only place we lived where it was the time we were supposed to be there was like concrete and absolute.
Yeah. That's crazy that, you know, I don't know how many other places in the world has like a lot of hurricanes like this.
Yeah. And tornadoes. Like, luckily we only lived through one hurricane and one tornado.
Do you think America's prepared for that kind of stuff?
It is, but, like, you can't stop, like, forces of nature.
Of course not.
You can only ensure that, like, you can have rescue services and recovery services to deal with the damages and stuff and to help people out.
But like bunker wise and stuff, it's only the rich people who are ready.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of Southeast Asia, a little bit of America.
And then back to Southeast Asia when we lived in Ho Chi Minh City or Saigon for 5 years. But, like, when we lived there, it was quite interesting because every year at the end of the school year, we'd always have to take maybe if we were coming back because we weren't sure if we were going to move out again or not.
Yeah.
And then at the end of 2003, going on to 2004, that's when we moved back to Thailand.
Yeah. And would you say there's a lot of half people like you?
Yeah, there's a lot of... The international school I went to was quite prominent, which is Bangkok Patna, the British international school in Bangkok. And there's a lot of, like, half American, half Thai, half British. One of my friends was half British, half Nepali.
Oh, interesting.
And, like, yeah, just a lot of halves and, like, very rich Thai kids.
Sure. And what was it like changing a lot of these different schools? And, like, do you have friends that you speak to from, like, you know, way back?
I actually only have one friend that I think he currently lives in Bangkok, and we've been friends since elementary school in Indonesia.
Yeah.
He's a little bit younger than me, but, like, still keep in contact with one or two people from Vietnam. But, like, most of my friends, they are from Bangkok Patna, and I still see them and communicate with them regularly. Like, I still have my group of guy friends that I play video games with every so often in the evening.
Nice. So overall, you say that it is a positive experience.
Yeah, it's been a positive experience, and, like, most of the friends I have, like, even the ones up here, like Linda, like, it's going on in, like, an 8-year friendship. Like, most of my friends I've had for, like, 10, 15 plus years.
Nice, man. Yeah, I mean, despite having to change a lot of different circumstances and schools and stuff, I think you held it down quite nicely.
Yeah, and, like, 2010 was the trying part of my life because that's when my dad was diagnosed with leukemia, and then it eventually passed away a month after at the age of 60. So it was quite quick and quite sudden.
This is your DIY dad, right?
Yeah, my actual father.
Thank you so much, because you blessed. Well, I don't know if you can hear this past that. I'm sure he can.
Yeah,
he's still living through you. Just the way that you repaired the microphone.
Yeah, the XLR cable, just with the tools around what we had.
And for an hour we were just trying to fidget around and see if we can get this thing to work, and, you know, DIY person just made it happen with a little sticker and just a pair of scissors. Amazing. Nice one, man. So from what age did you take up so the DIY kind of turned into, like, cooking stuff, right? Like, which age did you, like, let me ask you this question. Do you remember the first meal that you cooked ever?
Well, I basically Well, towards the end of high school, when I was about 17, 18 years old,
Yeah.
even though school here, you start at 7 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So I would actually get up early and I would make myself scrambled eggs in the morning.
Nice.
So that was my first beginner. Then I went on to like fried rice as I went to university for the first time in Australia. That didn't pan out, so I dropped out and came back here. But that was
the fried rice panned out, but the university
the
didn't.
university in Australia didn't. But then
Why not?
I found that industrial design just wasn't for me.
Oh, you were doing industrial design.
Because in high school I kind of took towards design technology, like DT.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause as you can see where this is going, I like to create things with my hands.
Yes, yes.
Because I remember my earliest memories as a kid, like I used to love building Legos. Not just the sets, just like building random things from all the bricks that I had as well.
Yeah. Do you know where Legos came from?
Yeah, they came from Denmark.
I just read about this, which is like freaking crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's probably the only good thing that they kind of. I don't know. Maybe there's like a lot of other things. Have you ever a chance to visit Denmark?
I've never been to Denmark. Like the only countries in Europe I've been to, like even though I'm English, I've probably spent a total amount of probably less than a year in England, like just as holidays. And actually, that's why I try to keep like close contact and the closeness with my siblings, because like on my dad's side of the family, like I remember we used to go to England a lot before we started traveling the world as a family.
And you have a lot of extended family in England too, right?
No, everyone on my dad's side is already passed.
Oh, I see.
Maybe I have a few cousins that don't remember meeting or anything, because going along with the story, like the last time, because this is what my mom told me, like we went to England soon after my brother was born, but then my dad and his brother, so my uncle, had a massive fallout because my aunt got cancer and died. And so
I'm sorry to hear that.
And sadly enough, I think my uncle passed soon after my dad, so they both died without reconciling, which is why I keep close ties with my siblings.
Smart. At the end of the day, I think family is, it's free unconditional love.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is.
Hopefully. Like if you don't have like a dysfunctional family type of thing. But if you do have, I hear this from a lot of people actually, just realizing how a few times that they have with their family. They're just trying to spend a lot of it, or just be more conscious of, like, there's not a lot of time left, and it's good that I'm prioritizing my functional family life.
Yeah, like I used to always be the one that was out and like not spending too much time with my family. So nowadays I prioritize my family more, and like, but the place I used to work at in Bangkok as a chef for 3 years, like it kept me busy, but like it kept me away from a family, and like I couldn't really get to see friends, because if they wanted to see me, they'd have to come down to the bar, and my days off were Monday and Tuesday. That's when everyone else is working. So like I'd only get to see them in the evening for a little bit. So it's really hard to keep up with friends when you work in the night.
But on the flip side, I would say it's so easy to accommodate people when you're sort of in the cooking industry, like
in the hospitality industry.
Well, because you invited us a couple days back to your house and made some hella banging like meat, a lot of nice beef, and the one that you marinated was my favorite with the ginger and all that.
And that originally, like that was the first original recipe that I've actually come up with in a long time, because I'm just used to cooking the recipes that I have locked up in my mind. So like it was fun to create things from just ingredients from the market next door and from the trees in my yard.
That's also so amazing, man. Like in I don't know how frequent this is possible in Bangkok, but it feels like in Chiang Mai it's such a...
No, because my mother has always had a green thumb, so no matter which house it is, the one in Bangkok or the one up here, there's always something growing. Nice. Either fruits or vegetables.
Yes, I love that. Fortunately, my grandmother also had this nice little... I don't know if it's like Thailand original, this little plum, Japanese plum...
Yeah.
Is this like a Thai delicacy or no? Not really.
I think it might have probably been imported from Japan, but like it's kind of like what the alcohol I gave you guys at my place that my uncle gave me, because it was like the Thai whiskey with the sweet Japanese plums in it.
Yes. Yeah, just like that reminded me of like my grandma's garden, and I think it's kind of a dying culture to have a green thumb and like use ingredients from your garden.
Yeah, because everyone's these days either works a 9 to 5 job in an office or they work from home remotely.
Yeah.
And especially if you live in Bangkok, you don't really have a chance to grow much because most people live in condominiums, not a big house with a yard.
Yeah, it's super futuristic, some of these like really tall buildings where they have a little bit of outdoor space with the garden and stuff.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
Yeah, it is, but it's also interesting. I'm very curious about farming as well, because like I've seen vertical farms and stuff, like theories on how those work.
Yeah.
It's quite fascinating, and like I actually have a friend who lives up in Rayong that he builds his own hydroponic systems.
Whoa, nice.
Hydroponic and aquaponic.
Nice. But going back to the cooking stuff, my friend would always say, it's not about finding the right ingredient. It's about just making the most of whatever you have.
Yeah. Because you can take the cheapest ingredients and turn it into something a 300 baht dish.
Yes.
And it'll only cost you maybe like 100 baht.
Yes.
Or like 80 baht.
That's where the skill is, I think.
Making do with what you got.
Yes.
And at a price point for what you pay for it and what you can charge for it.
Exactly. Because in business, I know the money is made when you're buying, not when you're selling.
Yeah.
So you have to buy really, really low and add a bunch of. I should have sent it to you, but I found this video on Instagram. This guy, he was just like noodles.
Yeah.
Just like these like, what do you call these noodles? The ones come in a pack that's kind of square.
Oh right, yeah, the rice noodles.
The rice noodles, yeah. So this guy just like takes a bunch of noodles, iron presses them, precisely cuts them into squares, and then like puts them together into a cube, and then fills it up with like the cooked ramen, basically, and then seals the top, and then he just like puts a little piece of green something there. Yeah. So like this $1 ramen just turned into a $99 meal.
Yeah. Like for cooking, there's no need to buy the most expensive ingredient unless that's the price point you're going for if you're cooking with A5 Wagyu or something.
Right.
It depends on the type of restaurant, but like if I was to open up a small bed and breakfast, I would probably, and / homestay, it would be like ingredients grown from the yard, and the only things I would probably buy is the proteins.
Right. I think you can't really skimp on the protein.
But maybe the chickens and ducks I might source myself, because I might have a little pen for them, so I get my own farm fresh eggs as well.
Nice.
And like for me, I'm always seeking how to make my dishes better.
Yes.
Because like I was already pretty good at making all sorts of different types of pasta sauces. Like, how can I make my pasta better?
So 17, you were making your scrambled eggs, and then in Australia you started making some
fried rice.
And then how did it get to sauces and stuff?
After my dad passed, that's when I was like in the grieving process, how to pass time and not think about it too much. I was like, that's when I really took to cooking, and I've been teaching myself for about a decade now.
Nice.
I've never gone to culinary school, but that's the useful thing that what came out of the 3 years I worked at the bar in Bangkok, because the old bar manager used to be a chef at the Jamie Oliver restaurant in Bangkok.
Right,
so I got professional training in a little bar in a tiny ass kitchen where I was basically cooking on my own.
That's remarkable, really.
Yeah.
And would you say this is, I mean, cooking just is one avenue, but anyone who's kind of going through this grieving process, what would you suggest to these people?
I would just say, just like with anything, if you're trying to repair or build, it's just like seeing what works, and like just, if it doesn't taste good the first time, don't give up. Just keep trying until you can never perfect a dish.
Of course not. No. My question was like, if anyone is going through a similar sort of time where like they're grieving someone, their loss or something, like you found solace, found a harbor in cooking, right?
Yeah.
What could people do? if they're going through
like
these
take
tough
up
times.
cooking, like exercise is a good thing. It's just keeping your mind occupied and off the fact that you've lost someone near and dear to you.
Yes.
And actually, I have a story from university that one of my friends, like, that I became quite close to, and like the main focal point of where my life changed was when my dad passed, and pretty much everyone around me at the university I went to in Bangkok knew that. And like one day, one of my friends approached me, and she was like, "Chris, my mom is dying of cancer." It's like and I was just like, "Okay, come round for dinner. I'll tell you exactly what's gonna happen and stuff, and how people are gonna treat you." And like basically everything I told her was how things played out. So it just really helped her get through the grieving process quicker.
Yeah, that's really nice, man.
Just using my pain in a useful setting, just to help another friend out.
Yeah, I think, just like when good news kind of spreads more when you share it, I think it's the same with bad news. If you are vulnerable enough to share it with people, I think it has a chance to just, go down. But that's not to say that, you can distract yourself with a lot of things, but at the end of the day, there are some emotions that you kind of have to go through, I think.
Yeah, you have to go through it yourself and in your own way. You can't just be like, oh, this person has told me this and this is how it's going to happen. You have to find your own way as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you found a good outlet for it. It's a very tasty outlet. So would you say that the experience you had with the Jamie Oliver, a person who like trained with the Jamie Oliver, so how important it is to sort of get knowledge from a person like a master?
Well, like for me, like when I first started off in the kitchen, I was incredibly disorganized. So basically what I was taught was basically organization and speed.
Oh.
And how important like pre-prep from service, especially if you're cooking on your own, is
mise en place.
Yes. Is how important it is, just so the food comes out quicker.
So can you expand on these two points that you just made? So the speed and...
Yeah, because when I first started cooking, because my brain works a little bit slower, and like I'm known to be a little bit clunky at times, and like fumble around and stuff, and like just get lost. But like after I was taught how to organize and like keep the kitchen clean, it actually kept my thoughts cleaner as well. And like I became more proficient in the kitchen just by becoming more organized and not having to wonder where everything is, just have a specific place for where everything goes.
So did this kind of spill over to other areas of your life somehow? Yeah,
it kind of does. Like it helps me keep a cleaner living environment, and like it told me a whole deeper meaning to organization, and like just respect your workplace and like what you're working with.
What are some like quick tips for anyone who's like a home chef or home cook, let's say? No, home chef. Home cook, like they just want to be a little bit more organized, but they're kind of like all over the place.
Just get all your ingredients like ready to cook, so you can just toss it into a pan, like or say if you're doing a roast, not just like, oh shit, I need to cut the carrots or something like that while everything else is cooking, because that just slows down the whole process. Right, and you are more susceptible to burning your food. Not that much anymore, but at the beginning there was a lot of burning. Because I would be like cooking something, I was like, oh shit, I need to do this, and I'd walk away for a bit too long, and it'd be a little bit more black than I would like. But right now I'm at the point where I can do a big style like 3-course meal at home, and like have like something going on in the oven, and like 3 different pots and a pan on the stove, like just all going at once, and everything comes off at the right time, so everything's still hot. Well, it's like 10 years of practice. That kind of pays off, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Yeah. And the other part was the speed part. So organization is important. I think you cannot really emphasize speed before you're organized, right? Yeah, and being a home cook, you don't need to necessarily worry about speed, but when you're working in an actual kitchen to serve food to people, speed is very important. Because people can be impatient. Yes. And that's kind of how you lose customers, right? Yeah.
Like if someone's like, like I waited like half an hour for this
Yeah.
thing to come, it's like, you know. And also from like a customer standpoint, again, the places that I end up remembering the most are the ones that, you know, you order and like in 5 minutes you have like a food in front of you. It's like,
Yeah.
damn.
That's because that all comes back down to organization. They have
Right.
everything all ready to go. So sometimes it just needs to be warmed up or just dunked in a fryer.
Right, exactly.
And yeah, no, because speed is key in a professional kitchen or just cooking to serve people.
Nice. Can you tell me any sort of bad memories that you had in a kitchen situation?
Oh, when I was working at the kitchen in my friend's bar in Bangkok, I let the oil in the small cast iron pan get too hot, and it actually caught fire. And like, instead of running out and getting the fire extinguisher, what can I do? I got a damp cloth and put it on it, and I burnt the whole palm and my thumb on this hand. I actually had to wear a glove for like a week because like it was just all blistered up, and because I just got scorching hot oil all over my right hand.
That's cringy, man.
Of course, I told them the fryer just overflowed, but not me accidentally starting an oil fire, but you know.
It's just to sweep it under the carpet.
But
No one would see this.
Because I remember my friend walking in, it's like, Chris, you need anything? I was like, oh shit. And I was like, take this bowl, fill it up with ice, and I continued working. Like, I just constantly dunked my hand in the cold water, so I was literally working and cooking with one hand.
Oh my god. Damn, the dedication though.
Yeah.
You're kind of like these guys. I watch, do you know, what's his name? Action Bronson?
I've heard of him, but I've not watched much of him.
Okay, so there's this series I think you might enjoy called Fuck, That's Delicious.
Right.
And in one episode, they go to a restaurant. It kind of escapes my memory. I think it's in New Orleans, and they're talking about like this one chef, and he's telling about stories about, you know, how this one guy kind of chopped his finger off, you know,
Yeah.
and we were like, rush hour, you know, like there's a lot of people just expecting food, and he was like, okay, like get you a bottle of whiskey, you know, just like glug 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 glug
Yeah.
glug glug glug, and then they really heat up a knife, and
Alright.
then they're just like.
Yeah, cauterize the wound.
Oh my god. And wrap it up and you're back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a dying sort of
Yeah, 'cause
perseverance.
Yeah, because especially if you work in a kitchen or say construction, like it's the same. You use your hands, and if you can still move and you can stop the bleeding, you can still work.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to a hospital or anything.
Do you think the new generation's too soft?
A little bit, yeah. Like they're not used to getting burnt or even hurt.
Yeah.
That's because that's the thing. When I was brought up, like we were like, and I'm sure with you, the earliest
Yeah.
memories is like running outside and playing, not just on an iPad or tablet, just watching shit while your parents do things.
I mean, and the parks, like, I'm the sort of youngest millennial out there, because after me, people who are like 26, 25, 25, they're considered like Gen Z. But when I was growing up, the parks, hazardous ass parks, you know, like sharp sticks and like weird like bended like sort of aluminum foil like
Yeah.
nails sticking out of
Yeah.
and, like, and we would still play, you know. Sometimes we got hurt, yeah, but we just were more careful.
Oh, I remember one time as a kid when we were traveling around New Zealand in a camper van.
Mhm.
So we stopped at a campsite. This wasn't even my fault. I was playing around in a sandbox and some kid before me had buried a bee in the sand and I stepped on it.
Oh my god.
So you can imagine I had a bee sting in the middle of my foot.
Yikes. That what happened? Would you just suck it out or something?
Yeah, I went back to my parents. My mom took it out, but you can imagine it's hard to walk after you've had a bee sting you right in the center of your sole of your foot.
So annoying. So yeah, it feels like, you know, having the will to continue even if you are hurt,
Yeah.
is like this sort of dying human trait that we
Yeah.
had maybe. We still have it. I mean, we hear stories like you. But I was thinking or hoping that you would give me an example about. So I haven't worked in a lot of restaurants. I was just doing barista stuff. But from all the movies and TV shows that I watched, like, it feels like all these chefs have like huge egos. I'm sure that's not 100% true, but is it generally true?
Oh, even some of the like YouTube shorts and like channels I watch, like they're like playing on like restaurants and stuff, and like
Yeah.
no the wait staff are easy, like it's the chefs are the ones that are actually hard to deal with, and yeah, some of them do have big egos and you don't want to clash with them.
What happens if you do?
No, let's just say when I worked in the kitchen and speaker box, like when I used to fuck up, I would get the Gordon Ramsay treatment.
Oh wow, okay.
No plates were thrown, but like you just have to have a thick skin.
Yeah.
You have to be able to roll with the punches, and it did help me improve.
Oh, that's the most mature thing. Like, it did help me improve. Is
Yeah.
the part where you're not only allowing this experience to come through as something positive and constructive, but you're also just like not taking anything personally.
Yeah.
I think that's the sort of underlying.
Yeah, don't take everything as face value, and you can apply that to anything like friendships, relationships.
Right.
Like there's always going to be difficulties, but it's how you work through it. Whether it's you have a partner or you're working in a kitchen,
Yeah.
it's how you overcome the problems and move forward together, or like how you improve as a chef.
For sure, for sure. And how much of it do you think is ego, and how much of it do you think is like people genuinely trying to improve themselves, or the people that they're working with?
Sometimes the harshest people are the kindest people outside of the workplace.
Right.
It's just like they're used to that kind of pressure, so like it kind of rubs off, and like I kind of can, I won't get like that in the kitchen. I'm very humble, but I will tell someone when they have fucked up.
And what's the language that you use for this?
I would not go the high volume, like this is how you do things. I would be like, this is what you're doing now, but this is what you can do to improve.
So always constructive.
Yeah, constructive, not in a malicious way though.
Right. Yeah, I think because, I mean, either way, we need to communicate with each other, right?
Yeah.
And to find a good way to sort of not put people off, and like, it's like the same idea. I hate math. It's like, you don't hate math. You hate that stupid teacher who like came into your life and then, you know, like hit your head or stuff like that.
I actually compared to all of my siblings and my father, like my brother, my sister, and my dad, they were very academically attuned, like,
Oh, okay.
because my brother did pharmacology at university and my sister did veterinary science,
Oh,
and my dad, when he did uni, got a double degree in geology and physics.
nice. Wow, super educated family.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I leant towards the more creative side.
Which I think is what the world needs more of right now.
Because I always struggled with academics.
Yeah, I wasn't the best. I mean, I was always like a 3 out of 4 student. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't horrible, but at the same time, I wasn't really good at it.
Yeah.
Because I just felt like it's sort of memorizing stuff. It's less about, you know, expression. It's
Yeah.
more about memorizing stuff. Most school.
And that's another thing I used to do at university as well. I used to invite friends around. I would teach them how to cook my recipes. I would actually write everything down type everything out and print out the recipes for them so they could learn what I cook.
Nice, man. So, tell me more about the cooking times in college.
Well, cooking times in college, like as I said before, like I practiced on my sister before I went back to college after my dad died. And then getting to know people, I'll be like, hey, do you want to come around for dinner sometime? And like I said, when you go around to a kid in college, you go around to their house for dinner, you expect like probably like dried pasta with a pre-made pasta sauce from the supermarket. Like the first time I had a couple friends around, I made
The emphasis is drinking like 3 bottles of wine.
that, and I remember the first thing I cooked for friends in university was I made homemade burgers.
Ooh.
This was before I started baking bread, so I found a nice bakery that made nice brioche buns.
Nice. And did it turn out well?
Let's just say when they came over, they were shocked because they were just like, wow, those burgers look amazing.
And it tastes?
superb.
Oh, nice. And that's probably why you're getting into the whole burger industry now.
And then the next time I made burgers, I was like, how can I make it better? It's like, okay, I'll make my own mayonnaise, and like I actually pickled my own cucumbers for pickles.
I don't know. It's so underrated. Like the pickles that come with burgers. I don't see a lot of places doing this.
Yeah, most people just buy the prepackaged stuff from the supermarket, but it's always better to make your own, because then you could adjust the flavor yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you want the pickle brine more spicy, more salty, more sweet.
What's the so first maybe talk about a little bit of this new burger joint Expedition.
Well, I had a friend contact me. It's like he already owns a few businesses, and like he showed me the kitchen above like his dispensary, and he wants to open up a affordable smash burger place, because in Bangkok there's nowhere you could get a burger.
What's a smash burger? I keep hearing this.
Well, basically you get a ball of mince.
Okay.
And then you put it either on a pan or a grill, and then you get a weight and just press it down.
Oh, that's a smash burger.
That's a smash burger. It's not
okay.
like a thick patty. It's very thin.
I see. Okay, cool.
And his goal is like maybe not. We'll probably end up paying more for the ingredients, but like his emphasis is like maybe burger and fries for like 110, 115 baht, double
super
150,
affordable.
like affordable. And since he already has several businesses, he already has the like delivery drivers and like partnering with Grab, so that's going to be, because it's going to start off as just like a Grab kitchen.
Gotcha.
And if it becomes successful, like maybe turn it into a small dine-in restaurant.
Nice.
And just slowly add things to the menu. Just start off with burgers and then see what else you can serve with the space I've got.
That's a healthy way to start a kitchen, right? First, like low commitment, it's just the kitchen, it's ghost. See if it picks up, and then add-ons afterwards. Nice. So, as a person who's really into burgers, which part is it that is the most important? The buns, the meat, or the extra?
With everything, I think everything has to work in combination.
Sure.
But say if you have a stale bun or a shitty bun, that's gonna ruin the burger.
Oh, okay. There's no going back from a stale bun.
Yeah. Or like a soggy bun.
How about meat? Like, can you compensate a bad meat with like good buns and crispy vegetables and stuff?
Like, I have an idea, like, to instead of like buying like just mince from the supermarket, is just buying the whole cuts, like, and then grinding it up myself, because that way you can control the fat content to the meat content.
Joshua Weissman?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay. So that guy makes a mean burger.
Like the channels I watch on YouTube, say Joshua Weissman, Guga Foods is another one.
I don't know that one. I'll have to check it out.
He does a lot of like grilling and dry aging experiments.
Ooh, dry aging stuff. You got into that at all?
I don't have the space in the fridge, but like I have cured and made my own gravlax, which is like cured salmon.
Salmon is something I'm recently getting into, and my parents are getting into too. It's a really nice source of protein.
Yeah.
But I do want to warn people that most of the salmon that they get from the supermarket is colored, and it's not real salmon at all. It's farmed. It's gross. Actually, it's worse for you.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the difference between like real salmon and like the salmon you get in the supermarkets. Like, that's the one thing I remember. One of the times we went to New Zealand, we went on the lake in Queenstown, and we actually went fishing and caught a couple salmon and one trout.
Ooh.
And then when we got back, we filleted the person who took us out on a boat filleted all of the fish for us, and like one of them he just smoked right on the dock for us, and you could tell we just caught those fish as well.
And how does it feel eating that wild salmon?
It just has a better texture, better flavor.
Yeah, like don't need much, right?
Yeah, you don't need much.
Yeah, because I feel like the supermarket ones, you kind of have to like cook it with butter, add some nice spices, get a lemon in there, because if not, it's just, I don't know, for the lack of a better term, it tastes plastic.
Yeah, it's chewy and rubbery.
Yeah.
Like for me, like sourcing the freshest ingredients is the best way.
Yeah.
But also trying to not break your back and your wallet for saying getting organic ingredients.
Yeah, it's like a balance that we have to kind of strike between these two worlds. Like, organic, is it going to be expensive, cheap? But I think a place like Thailand, especially Chiang Mai, I was speaking to Mike Cook, this guy who does the language exchange, and he was saying, I could cook the same exact meal for a fraction of the price here, with fresher and cheaper ingredients. So I think Chiang Mai is a good place for...
that's what I noticed when I came up here. Like, everything is just cheaper and fresher.
Yes.
Than in Bangkok. And if you get the freshest ingredients in Bangkok, it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
Because it's not grown anywhere near in the city. Here, it just comes up from just outside of the city or not too far up into Chiang Rai. So it's not that far at all.
Yeah. And your lineage, I mean, your mom is around from here.
Yeah. My mom's from a small town in Chiang Rai called Weng Papao, which is about an hour and a half outside of Chiang Mai.
And you got a chance to visit the old house, huh?
Yeah. When I saw my great-grandmother's old house, those are one of the earliest memories I've had, like running around like that house, like chasing chickens and stuff with my brother.
Nice, man. And how did it feel to be back?
It was just like being somewhere that I haven't been in the longest time, so it felt like new but vaguely familiar, because that whole deja vu sense.
Yeah.
And getting to find out where I'm actually from, because even though I've grown up in Bangkok and big cities my whole life, like, I prefer the pace up here.
Yeah. I guess it's like whatever you don't have. I would share the same sentiment with you, having grown up in, like Istanbul, New York City.
Yeah.
Like going to Bangkok, when I first arrived in Thailand, going to Bangkok was just extremely chaotic. And I only wanted to spend in places where there's AC because it's extremely hot. And the pace is just... I don't know. It makes me feel like I'm aging faster in these big cities.
And the traffic is horrendous.
Yeah. Do you think we have to live in cities? Like...
No, but most people choose to because of convenience, and everything's always ready, available, and you don't have to really hunt for anything.
Yeah.
But that's with the later generations as well, as the sense of exploration has sort of like died.
Yeah.
They're just content and comfortable with like where they're at.
Yeah. And I had a question about how... So we don't really need to live in the big cities, but it happens to be that way.
Yeah.
Is it because... Like, do you think people who live in sort of like... who grow up in countrysides and stuff, they kind of have a yearning for like big cities? Just like we, like us who have lived in big cities have a yearning for smaller, slower pace. These people who are accustomed to the small and slower pace, they're like, I just need something faster. Do you think that's the case, or?
Oh, that's the case. That might be a little bit of the case, but like some people like the fast, and mainly living in a more bigger city like Bangkok, there's definitely more to do in terms of nightlife and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But like sometimes it does get old, because you might find new places now and again, but the way I see it, I find myself always return to like the same bars or same cafes or same restaurants because I know they're good.
Exactly.
And that's like a regular spot.
I am very much a novelty seeking person, but even in the short time that I spent in Chiang Mai, I just find myself sort of determining this place. Okay, this is where I get my pat kaprao. This is where I get my Thai tea. This is where I get my khao soi. I found myself going to these places again and again because they're good,
Yeah, exactly. But like when I first came up here, that's why I was glad that I met up with you and Linda, because you guys were showing me around a city that I hardly know.
Yes.
Which is really amazing. Instead of just, yes, I've done my own exploring in my own time, but it's good to be shown around by people
who've been there for a bit,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think community in that way is extremely important.
Yeah.
Because you can't, like, there's thousands of cafes and restaurants here. Like, you literally cannot, like, go to every single one of them.
Yeah.
Even if your job is that. Like, it would take you a while to do that. But if you hang out with people who've already, like, who you share the same kind of mindset with, and they show you around, I think, it's a better way to cover more ground.
And actually, if you go a bit further up north into Chiang Rai, because when I went up there, we also went up to Doi Chang as well.
Doi Chang, yeah.
And that's when I realized, wow, they actually grow pine trees up there. They have artificial pine forests on the mountains.
Whoa, that's cool.
Because you can tell that it's not a natural forest because all the trees are in line and stuff like they were planted. But I didn't know they grew pine trees up until I went up there myself.
Holy shit, man. That's pretty cool. They got everything going on here.
Yeah.
Nice. So after like 10 years, it's like you're coming back here, yeah?
Yeah. Like I haven't been up north since more than 15 plus years. So it's like I said, rediscovering where I'm from, like in terms of where I'm from in Thailand.
Yeah, because you're half Thai.
Yeah.
And tell me more about your Thai. Like, are you working on your Thai?
I pick up more each day, but like for me, like it's always been like I can understand more than I can speak. Like I can have conversations with people or when I'm going to buy things, and then like the most common thing is like, oh, your Thai is very good, and that's when I'll be like, oh, I'm half, and they're like, really? And then
no, I don't believe
then it switches, and they have try and have a full blown conversation with me in Thai and speaking really fast. Like, just slow down. I'm still learning.
Thai is a difficult language. It's not the easiest one. I would classify it a little easier than Chinese. Yeah. Because it's tonal, but it's not that tonal.
Yeah.
But for anyone who's trying to get into it, I mean, for you can only speak on your behalf, obviously.
Yeah.
How do you think language acquisition is the easiest for you?
I do find languages interesting, but like my mom is very good at languages. Like
nice.
when we lived in Indonesia, she spoke Bahasa so she could communicate with the maids.
Oh, that's so dope.
And then when we lived in Vietnam, she spoke Vietnamese to communicate with the locals there.
Wow. The polyglot mom you got there. Nice.
And like, of course, there's Thai, and like I think she knows a little bit of either, I can't remember which dialect of Chinese because of my stepdad, because he works with a lot of Chinese clients.
Oh, I see. So by proxy, she knows a little bit of Chinese as well. I think once you crack like 2 languages, the 3rd, 4th, 5th it just becomes easier and easier. Yeah. But I think in Thailand it's okay. Like people get intimidated. Oh, I don't speak Thai. No. Like people, like you can, if you speak human, I think you could survive in Thailand. Yeah. Would you agree?
Like for me, like I'm very into tech. Besides food, I'm very into tech. I have a very nerdy side of me because I built my own computer as well.
Yes, the DIY expands.
Yeah. And like, you can easily go buy a desktop or a laptop from a store and it has all the parts in it already, but it's fun to, like I said, like go out and look at the parts yourself and pick and choose what you want and to suit your needs, not just buying something that's pre-built.
Cookie cutter stuff.
Yeah.
How does that relate? I'm sorry, I just lost it a little bit.
I'm just saying, like in terms of like DIY, like cooking and like well, cooking led to me being more involved in tech and like how tech works as well. And like just I like things that are very hands-on. Yeah.
You like working with your hands. Yeah. So computers, have you, like, is it on a regular basis, like do you never buy ready-made computers? You just like always make your own?
Well, before I used to buy like desktops and stuff, but it was only until I think it was either 2013 or 2014 where I built my own PC with the help of a friend.
Nice.
And then I kept that PC for about like say 8 years, and then I was like, okay, the parts in here are a bit outdated, it's time to build a new PC. So I just went to the shop and asked them for the parts I wanted. But since I do know how to build it, but like I was kind of pressed for time and I kind of wanted it done, so I picked out the parts, but they built it for me. But like it's still the PC that I built, you know.
So are you against Apple then?
Funnily enough, I used to like Apple. Oh. I used to have a MacBook Pro when I was younger, but like I've slowly moved back to Windows.
For me, it was a lot of Windows computers, you know, like viruses and blah blah blah. Yeah. And ever since I bought a Mac, I don't think I'll go back just because of the virus stuff.
Actually, nowadays, like before, you'd have to buy separate antivirus programs for Windows and stuff, but these days,
Thank you, John McAfee.
you can get by with just Windows Defender now because it's actually gotten a lot better.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's been a while since I last used like a Windows operating.
Yeah, because operating system, like in terms of like protections and stuff, it's gotten a lot better than it was when in the early 2000s and stuff.
What I don't like about Apple, and you can tell me like from people that you know who use Apple, there's a sense of like belonging. Like I don't really want to belong to anything, you know? And it feels like when you buy the iPhone, like it makes sense to buy the iPad, it makes sense to buy the AirPods, like you're kind of in this thing where like they're just selling you on things more and more.
Yeah, you're not there for the brand, you're there for the closed community.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But think about it, what's inside a MacBook is the only thing that's proprietary is their motherboards and their new PC CPU chips.
Yes.
But everything else is like parts that you can get like from any computer store.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a little overpriced for what it is.
You're basically buying a community.
Pretty much. And I mean, I am a user where, functionality trumps like any design or anything, like I want it to work. And it just works like that. I get the whole idea, but I think it's a little too overplayed. And now hearing you saying, "Oh, these Windows computers they also just work," just makes me feel like, oh, okay, maybe it's like reconsider some Windows stuff.
Yeah, and with Windows, it's more fun to build your own computer as well and see how everything fits together and how everything works.
Lego style.
Yeah, Lego style, exactly.
Sweet. So I want to go into some deep questions now since we've already warmed up. How does cooking hold importance in your life? Like, is it really important? Would you be able to survive doing something else, like building computers and stuff?
I could, but like I get the joy from cooking, from feeding others. Like. I like seeing the satisfaction on the people that I serve and like see their face light up and say that this tastes amazing. Can I have your recipe? How did you do this? And it's just that satisfaction of like feeding and catering to others.
Yeah.
That's what the joy of cooking comes from me. Like I hardly ever cook for myself, and when I cook for myself it's very bare bones and simple.
Yeah.
But like when I cook for others, I tend to step it up a notch with the recipes and stuff, and like. And since I've been teaching and tasting, because I'm a very adventurous eater as well, so when I taste something, I'm not just like, oh, that tastes amazing. I'll be like, oh, I can taste the cardamom, I can taste the different spices in it.
Yeah, I find myself going above and beyond for people when I cook as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense if you're doing it by yourself. Like, it's just sustenance.
Yeah. Yeah. And like especially if you work in hospitality and work in a kitchen, after you've spent the whole night cooking for people, you don't want to cook for yourself. You either go to 7-Eleven or McDonald's.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this funny idea. I have a friend who also started a pizza shop, and I don't know, like just thinking about, like he also loves feeding people, and I think a lot of chefs and cooks, like they sort of start because of that whole sense of community and, like having the opportunity to, it's going to sound weird, but touch people on the inside, you know, in a more, socially acceptable way.
Yeah, exactly. In basically a non-invasive way.
Non-invasive way and consensual, and they love it as well, Yeah. And when was it where you sort of said, okay, I'm going to do this for a living?
It was because every time I used to invite people around to dinner, and like I would always get comments like, so when are you opening up your own restaurant, Chris? And that was always a dream and a work in progress. And then next thing you know, after my friend who opened Speaker Box in Bangkok, a month after they opened, he's like, hey Chris, do you want to come here and cook for me? I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go.
Nice.
And that's where like.
Oh, so it's recently then?
Yeah, it's recently. Like mostly I've just been a home cook, and like everyone's just like, when are you gonna open your own place? Because the food you cook is really amazing.
Yeah, instead of asking deeper questions, I just enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna stick to it. So tell me more about the idea that sparked your mind when you came here, and you're like, oh, maybe homestay, maybe the Airbnb and the homestay and the restaurant.
Well, because I just saw how, and I've seen a lot of like homestays. Even like one of the friends that I went to go meet here, he runs a pet-friendly homestay just on the southeastern side of town.
Nice, where I live.
Yeah, it's called Beagles Green.
Beagles Green, oh, cool.
It's really chill, and they're really chill guys who run it.
Nice.
And like, it's basically, they rent out the entire house. They have their area where they stay, of course, but then they rent out the entire house on the property as a 3-bedroom guest house.
Nice. So this kind of gave you an idea about, okay, maybe I'll do the same thing here.
And then when I went up to my great-grandmother's house in Chiang Rai, because that house has had some history, because after my great-grandmother died, like a Thai and a foreigner bought the house and turned it into an orphanage, so it kind of has like certain like outbuildings and like a big open area in the back where you could put an outdoor kitchen.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Yeah, and I think Chiang Mai has the bandwidth and the space for more.
And there's actually a plot, not just on the land where the house is, there's in the same village, like just down the road, my mom has another 1 rai of land where I could use to grow whatever vegetables and stuff I want.
Nice.
And it's just literally 5 minutes from the house, like 2-minute walk from the house.
Whoa, that's nice. That's really nice. So like all just your own grown stuff.
Yeah. And like if there's stuff I don't have, like my mom's friend's homestay is not too far up the road from there as well.
Nice.
And they grow all their own vegetables, and they raise chickens and ducks as well.
Sweet. Yeah, I think something like this would be, good for you as well after living in like Bangkok for such a long time.
And even though the temperature is quite hot here in the afternoon, you can actually get around and not sweat.
Yeah.
As if you did this in Bangkok at any point, day or night. You walk for the same amount of distance, you're already rinsed.
From all the places that you've visited, which ones kind of stick out in your memory the most?
Well, definitely returning up here, and basically when we used to do our summer family vacations in New Zealand, because before my parents bought the house, what we used to do is just rent a camper van and travel both islands for the entire month and a half of summer holidays.
Around New Zealand, yeah?
Around New Zealand, North and South Island.
It's a beautiful nature, though, that place.
And get to see a lot of nature. Like I've been to I've been to Mount Cook.
Ooh.
I've been on top of I've seen a glacier.
Nice.
Been to like this, and the one thing I love about New Zealand is like if you go at the right time, a lot of the farms you can go pick your own fruits and vegetables.
That's so sweet, man.
Like mainly fruits like blueberries, kiwi fruit.
Ooh, and that's the best.
Strawberries, like you pick it yourself.
Yeah, nice. So New Zealand, Chiang Mai.
Basically places where there's good countryside.
Good countryside, good nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Like one of the places where we used to pick our own fruits in New Zealand, like you go to pay for it at the stuff, and they actually have their own. You choose what berries you want, and then they just mix it in with their own ice cream, so you get your own fresh berry ice cream.
That's really cool. Nice. Yeah, gotta check out New Zealand at some point in life. People say it's boring, but
if you're keen on traveling and backpacking around, it's the place to go discover, because like unlike in Bangkok or say any big city, you have to really explore if you want to enjoy.
Nice.
Because everything is so sparse, spread out so sparsely in New Zealand.
Nice. Cool. So Chiang Mai and New Zealand, cool places to check out. Okay, we're almost at the hour mark. I want to ask you if you have any, ideas, if you have any messages. Let's say there was like a huge billboard. What would you write on this billboard for everyone to see?
I would say you have to put effort into what you really want to do, and the only way to put effort in is to spend the time and always constantly improve on yourself.
How do you know what to do?
Well, a lot of people spend their whole life like soul searching, like what they want to do. Sometimes they just get stuck in like what they're good at, but it's not exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
The key is to always try and experiment. Like sometimes things aren't for you, but like sometimes you find something that really fits.
I heard from somebody, he said, if you don't know what to do, look at what hurts the most.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what hurts the most, like that, because you need to develop that sort of thick skin, and like I've always been a very hospitable person. Like I remember when my mom and stepdad got married, we had a small ceremony in our like yard in our house in Bangkok.
Nice.
And like I was running around making sure everyone had like drinks or their water was topped up, and like a lot of my stepdad's friends and family were asking, who's that person running around like a headless chicken making sure everyone's all right? and it's like, oh, that's my stepson. And that's kind of what I did at Speakerbox for 3 years. And like, but when you're doing more than you should, it does burn you out. And like having,
even though you get a lot of pleasure and satisfaction,
I did enjoy my time there, but like even during off hours I'd be called in to do favors. Like, this guitar amp is broken.
Right.
Can you go get this amp from someone else and bring it to the bar? It's like, and it did cost me time with like friends and family, because like if I'm always constantly running around for work, like I don't have time for myself or others outside of work.
Right. So it's like, okay, focus on what hurts. Help me out here.
And find balance between work and your free time. Don't let your work consume your free time.
But I guess that's what the whole idea is about, like finding what you really want, right? Because if you do find what you really want, it's not work anymore.
Yeah.
Did you feel like, working at the bar restaurant, or just running around, did that feel like work, or did it feel like
it felt like it felt like when I was in the kitchen, it felt fun and I enjoyed myself. But like when you're doing more than you're expected of, like making sure everyone else is okay in the bar, serving beers and doing things like outside of the bar for the bar, it kind of gets old and draining. Like sometimes I wouldn't, like the weekends I would get on the Monday and Tuesday wouldn't be enough time to rebalance myself. I'm a very introverted person, so I need time to rebalance. And like even before work, I like to spend the time chilling and centering myself just so I can get ready for work. And like if something cuts into that, like if I get called in for a favor, that cuts into my free time and balancing time, and it throws me off canter.
I see. Okay, so I want to do an experiment. I want you to hear what you say.
I've never done this.
Right? So I suspected this. That's why I wanted you to, hear what you say while we're closing off.
Right.
If there's anything that you want to, riff off of.
No, I'm actually more comfortable with hearing my own voice now, because usually I've done public speaking at university and stuff, and I was part of student council, so I'm used to speaking in front of people, and this is the most fluid, because usually I stutter and shake, and like when I hear my voice on playback, I'm like, God, I hate how I sound. But like this sounds natural and fluid.
Well, it's so amazing what microphones and like hearing your voice at the same time does to you, because you're very aware of that very moment. I think we could have the same exact conversations without all this bullshit,
Yeah.
And it would be a very, very different conversation.
Exactly. The only problem with the headset, like I can't hear my own volume, so I'm not sure if I'm speaking louder than I am.
Oh, I think I'm not sure because I have the headphones on the whole time, but right now you're kind of like leveling out your own voice right now.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it was very, very, I think it was quite well.
Yeah.
So any parting ideas, any parting thoughts?
I would say in whatever you do and however you decide to present yourself, always be adventurous to try new things, because eventually you'll find something or someone that'll fit you, and you'll find what you really want to do in life. And like that's how I found cooking. Like it's just trying out different things, because I was never really good at just like academic stuff, so I could never find myself doing like programming or like stuff like that.
Right.
But like very hands-on and building things like craftsman, because in my own time I actually sketch and do a little write little idioms and stuff.
Yeah. Just because society tells us like you have to be good at this, your parents, your mom, your significant other, blah blah blah, like if you don't feel like you're good at something, that doesn't mean you're a horrible person or you're incapable or any of the other negative stuff that you can imagine for yourself. It's just you have to try other things.
And like also, no matter how much pain and hardship you face, don't let it bitter you. Try and stay humble and true to who you are.
That's deep. Can I hear that again?
No matter how much pain and hardship you go through, always try and remain humble, and always respect and treat people how you want to be treated as well.
That feels like how I feel in Chiang Mai, really. Like I feel like a lot of people have this mindset of what you just said.
Yeah.
And that has this sort of emanating like energy where like even if you are not from this camp, it makes you think about this, or it makes you more humble. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Would you say that about Thai people in general, or?
No, Thai people are very sabai, and like a lot of them like the slow life, but like if you live in the big city, there's no chance of being slow there.
Sure. Nice. Well, we all invite you to slow down wherever you are in the world.
Yeah.
And try other things.
Exactly.
Things and stuff.
Yeah, I'm always open to, once I can, like travel and like experience new experiences again, because I think I'm about ready to start traveling again after I've been rooted somewhere for the last 16 years.
Nice. Cool. Well, where can people taste your amazing burgers?
Well, right now, we're just talking with a friend and setting it up, but like the shop will be at the, like on the Sukhumvit side of Onnut, just across from the Big C, and it'll be starting as a delivery kitchen. So
And
mainly, we haven't decided on the name yet, but like
nice.
I threw him a couple names and he liked those ideas, but like it hasn't been decided yet.
Nice one. Well, when it comes out, we'll let people know. And take it from there. Thank you so much, Chris, for doing this. I really appreciate your time and energy and effort.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was a first for me, and I really enjoyed myself, so thank you.
I'm glad that we made it happen despite the technical
difficulties and arranging a time as well, because I was only here for a couple more days.
Yeah, we made it happen.
Yeah.
Christy.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.